Ryan Day and Kirby Smart, is there more similarities here in their careers and their trajectory of their careers that potentially meet the eye? The Athletic's Bruce Feldman riffed on this topic a little bit on his podcast, so I decided, you know what, let's just have a conversation with the good people of the Hard Count at the On3 YouTube channel, and we'll do a video on this. Because you look at their first 4 years, and Ryan Day has only been the head coach at Ohio State for 4 years, so that's why we use that sample size, and there's quite a few similarities. At this point in their career, Kirby Smart, 4 years in, hadn't won a national title. They both played for a national title in their second year on the job. Both lost it. Through 4 years, Ryan Day was 45-6. Through 4 years for Kirby Smart, he was 44-12. The reason why there's that disparity there in terms of number of games is because the Big Ten had a shortened season for the COVID year, only played 8 games, did Ohio State, so that's the reason for that. But the narrative was the same around both these guys through 4 years. Hey, good coach, talented coach, probably in the upper 10%, upper 5% of the entire sport, but can't really win the big one, right? Can't win the big one. That's what they were saying about Kirby Smart. Hey, he got to the national title game. He had Nick Saban dead to rights, and then Nick Saban brings in Tua Tagovailoa and ends up completing the bomb to Devontae Smith to win the game, and hey, choke job by Kirby Smart. 4 years in, the same Kirby Smart that now has the game in a squeeze and has 2 national titles in 2 years. That's what they were saying about him 4 years into his career. Same thing that's being said about Ryan Day right now. Kirby Smart and Ryan Day both have mentors that were giants of the sport. For Kirby Smart, it was Nick Saban when he coached under him. For Ryan Day, it was Urban Meyer when he took the sticks over as the head coach from him. A lot of similarities here. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of conversation around Ryan Day and what he hasn't done. They were saying a lot of the same things about Kirby Smart. So what does that mean for the future? Let's talk about it. If you have not yet subscribed, though, to the On3 YouTube channel, to the Hard Count, we'd love to have you a part of this operation. Shout out to the thousands of Ohio State Buckeye fans and Georgia Bulldog fans that have joined us here in the last few months. We were at SoFi Stadium for the national title game, and a ton of the Bulldog faithful were showing up and showing out, so we appreciate y'all. And if you haven't yet joined, like I said, no time like the present. Also, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jody Piquel. I want to hear from y'all. Comment below your thoughts on this comparison as well to this video. Context is everything, though. When we talk about Ryan Day and Kirby Smart and the situations they inherited, because Georgia, they were a really good football team when Kirby Smart became the head coach. They were a really good football team. Were they a national power like they are right now? No. Hadn't won a national title in 40-plus years before he got the job. Now, Ryan Day, his situation at Ohio State, a little bit differently. Urban Meyer had already won a national title. Ohio State was considered a national power. And the whole thought process around Ryan Day at Ohio State was like, hey, man, you got a Ferrari, keep driving that thing. Keep driving that thing. Keep it on the road and keep this machine moving. Kirby Smart has his thumbprints a little bit more visibly on what Georgia is and what they've done now over the last few years. Okay? So the frustration around Ohio State is the feeling that at best, there's other teams within their conference that are now catching up with them. At Michigan, the feeling is at worst, they're getting passed by. Or they've regressed even, is a better way to say it. The fear is that at worst, Ohio State has regressed. And going back to context is everything here. Because for Ohio State, we're speculating, but if that kick goes through, as the ball drops in New York City and they beat the Georgia Bulldogs in this year's college football playoff, they set themselves up with a date with the TCU Horned Frogs. I have a hard time believing Ohio State doesn't beat TCU. And then this whole conversation changes. Ryan Day is going to go and try and go back-to-back. He's going to try and go win a second national title after they just beat TCU. Like, that could be the conversation we would be having if that kick goes through. Now, again, it's an if, it's a hypothetical, but that one play changes the entire label we put around Ryan Day. I think it goes to say Is Ryan Day a worse coach because that kick didn't go through? I have a hard time buying into that. Keep them with context. We'll go and look at Kirby Smart. Mackenzie Milton brought this to Twitter and was very brave of him to bring it to Twitter, because there's parts of this that are true, there's parts of this that are reaching, but it's a hypothetical nonetheless. If Jamison Williams doesn't get hurt in the national title game, does Georgia win that national championship? Mackenzie Milton didn't stop there. If Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't get hurt in the college football playoff against Georgia, does Georgia go and play for a national title against TCU? Do they even get in by Ohio State? Because remember, both those dudes, Jamison Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., were going to work against Georgia. I'm not going to go so far as to say that they would have won the game and beat Georgia, both Bama and Ohio State. I'm not going to say that, but it's fair to speculate. It's fair to say, if history were to lean a different direction, how would that shake out for the Dogs? So just a couple plays here and there, we could be having a different conversation around both these coaches. Now, again, we're not. Georgia is the top dog. Georgia is the best there is in the sport right now. Kirby Smart has secured not one, but 2 national titles, and that's the reality of it. So I'm not here to rain on Georgia. I'm not here to talk up Ryan Day. I'm just saying a couple of plays here, which is the game that football is, a game of inches, a couple of plays here could wildly change this conversation. But the reality is, when you look forward, and again, keeping with context, that's kind of the theme of this whole deal, the SEC is different than the Big Ten. Okay, there's different expectations for Ohio State in the Big Ten than there is of Georgia in the SEC. Because Georgia was just trying to get back to the mountaintop and to win the SEC and to get into the national title game. Ohio State had done that under Urban Meyer. Heck, Ohio State had gotten to national titles under Ryan Day and won the Big Ten title under Ryan Day. More is expected of you in the Big Ten right now because of what's around you. You're not playing Tennessee. You're not playing LSU. You're not playing Alabama. You play a 1-game season, 1.5-game season, could be a 2-game season, depending on what Penn State does here in the near future. The expectations are different, okay? Ryan Day has set the bar very, very high by what he said, by the way they've recruited, by the way that the administration has invested, by the way that boosters have invested. Like, there's a lot being put forth into Ohio State to where Ryan Day now has to meet that. You got to beat Michigan. You got to win the Big Ten. You got to win national titles. But a couple of plays here could change the conversation around Ryan Day. So there's a couple of extreme fans within the Ohio State Buckeye fan base that are saying, fire Ryan Day. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? I wouldn't do that. I think you got one of the best coaches in the sport. Let it bake a little bit more, because they were saying the same thing about Kirby Smart in year 4 for him. Hey, he can't beat Bama. Really, really good coach, can't beat Bama, can't win the big one. He eventually went on to do both those things in the same game to get you a ring, then ran it back this year to get another ring. So he can win the big one. He can beat Bama. Ryan Day, if you're trusting the trajectory of Kirby Smart's career, and they're different people, different situations, I get that, but I think it's way, way too early to make any definitive statements about Ryan Day as a coach. So we're going to watch it play out this year. Yet again, we'll watch Ryan Day take the Buckeyes, and I fully expect, I said the other day, I fully expect Nick Brake and I to be in Ann Arbor to watch Ohio State and Michigan go to battle to punch a ticket to the Big Ten title game. It'll be a lot of fun, but Ryan Day and Kirby Smart, more parallels than what meets the eye, but context is everything. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit the bell notification so you know when we go live. We are live tomorrow morning, Tuesday tomorrow morning, and Shane Beamer is going to be on the program. We did an interview with him earlier, and he brought the juice, man. This is something you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you're locked in. Buckle up. Going to be a phenomenal ride as we get back to them playing games. Again, content every single day. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Pakelta State with every single thing we are doing here. Nick Brake, Lifting Heavy. This is your show. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.